Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Infantry Pulse, and today we'll be going over my picks for the Choose Your Legends Round 5 event. Now the event's already over, so I'm not advocating that for any votes for these characters, because you can't anymore. And I'm definitely not saying how you should have voted. These are just my personal picks, and you'll see when we get to them. I really didn't go for an agenda of like, I think these characters are going to win. I just voted for my favorites with the hopes that, you know, they end up in the game someday, and just also because I just wanted to give my favorites votes, and that's valid, you know? So, my first character up is Awakening Anna. Now, just to start off with, all the Annas should be combined in the same way that all the Marths are. That's my opinion. So IS combined all the Marths from all the different games into one vote, which is great. But there's Awakening Anna, there's Three Houses Anna, there's Heroes Anna. All of those should be one character. They're all Anna. I know they're all like sisters or whatever, but come on, they're all Anna. So that's my personal opinion of that. But why I chose Awakening Anna specifically out of all the Annas is because in almost every playthrough I've done of Awakening, I have married Anna. She has big waifu energy for me, so simp for Anna, hashtag simp for Anna. But also I just think she's like a fun, silly, lighthearted character. She brings that kind of like levity to a sometimes heavy story in all the games she's in, really. And that's kind of a theme you'll see with all my votes, is I like characters that break up the seriousness of Fire Emblem. I do like that aspect of the games and that aspect of the storytelling. That's one thing that attracts me to the franchise, but I do like when they break it up with something a little bit more silly. So, on that note, my second vote is for Kaspar. Kaspar is this kind of ragtag, gritty kind of. He wants to go in there and fight, probably to a fault. He really wants to prove himself that he's strong enough, that he's good enough, and he doesn't give up. And that's really what I like about Kaspar the most, is he really is determined to prove himself and say, like, I'm just as strong as all these other warriors. I can do it. He kind of has this Napoleon complex about, like, how he's shorter than everyone else. Which is not really intriguing to me about him as a character, but it does bring that levity, and his character being just so excited all the time and so excitable really attracts me to his character personally. So my third vote on the opposite end of that spectrum is Dyer, who probably could not be more different than Kaspar. Dyer is lethargic, he's lazy, he doesn't really want to fight all that much, and he gets yelled at by his dad a lot. His dad's Jacob, and he can't really do much right. He tries really hard, but he messes up a lot. And I just relate to that as a character, about being just exhausted and trying your best and maybe not doing the greatest all the time and maybe not wanting to do it all the time, but, you know, getting the job done nonetheless. So I like Dyer in that aspect. He's relatable. My next pick was Ash. So Ash is from Three Houses, and he has this kind of like troubled childhood thing going on where he used to be this thief and kind of street urchin, but then he was taken in by Lord Lonato and kind of given a better life, right? So he has really turned around his life. He aspires to be this great knight like Lonato was. If you played Three Houses, I guess this is spoilery, but it's in like the second chapter, so it's not that spoilery. You actually end up fighting and killing Lonato, and that's really troubling to Ash because he's fighting against his adopted father, who the church says has incited this insurrection. And so, like, that storytelling aspect was really, really good, I thought, on Three Houses' part, of this, like, this is the real cost of war, and these people were fighting for a cause they believed in. I think playing especially on Azure Moon, Dimitri's route, Dimitri has this dialogue with Ash about, like, these people were just fighting for what they believed in. They weren't really, you know, like, terrorists or whatever. They were just as the church is fighting for what they believe in, Lord Lonato's soldiers were fighting for what they believed in too. Back to Ash, I think that storytelling aspect made him really intriguing, and also this kind of, like, youthful wonder that he kept about, like, becoming a knight and, like, the nobility that it has. I just thought that was, like, sweet in an aspect, as opposed to the characters, some of the characters that are in Fire Emblem that are already knights that talk about being a knight all the time. gets kind of exhausting in the same way like talking about being a noble. I am Ferdinand von Aegir gets a little bit exhausting. So yeah, Ash has that kind of like hope that I really appreciate, and especially in a story like Three Houses that really confronts the tragedies of war. Next up, we have Odin. So Odin Dark is silly and over the top and just like fun. He's like an okay character in terms of like his gameplay and whatever, but he like has this like kind of tongue-in-cheek making fun of the anime trope of like calling out your attacks before you use them and naming all of his weapons and all of his attacks. It's very making fun of like Dragon Ball Z and shonen anime and all that kind of stuff. And I just found that really funny to me, just because all the other characters are like exhausted by the fact that he does this, even though Fire Emblem is a very anime game, obviously. So it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of satire on that, and I really appreciated that in Fates. And also, I just think he's like fun, right? So a lot of these characters are just like fun and lighthearted and bring levity. Next is not so much that though. So my next pick is Reyna. Kind of an obscure character. She's one of Makoto's retainers in Fates. And she is bloodthirsty. And to me, that was very funny. I don't know why, but every time she talked about being super bloodthirsty, I don't know, it just was like so over the top that it became like humorous to me. In the same way that like Henry is very bloodthirsty and he has like direct humor. Like he's like laughing about killing people, right? And I like Henry also. Henry didn't make my list, he probably should have. But in that same vein, like Reyna has this like vengeance about her, but to like such a degree that it's absurd, right? So like Dimitri has vengeance, but it's like very serious and it's like it's portrayed very seriously. But Reyna's bloodlust is a little bit more cartoonish in its portrayal, and it just made me giggle every time it came up. And her being a Kinshi Knight, I think, is also really cool. I thought that was pretty like a unique class for Fates, that like flying archer kind of thing. So I would like to see her in the game, just because I think the Kinshi Knight thing is cool, and I think she's like a kind of a fun character in that aspect. We won't unpack the fact that I think her bloodlust is funny. We'll just take that as it is and move on. So my final vote, and probably the most cop-out vote, is I did give a vote to Marth. Marth deserves his Brave Alt. It's time. We have passed up on Marth too many times. He is the originator of the franchise. It is time for Marth to get in Choose Your Legends. It's time for him to get his Brave Alt. So I really hope he wins. I'll address the elephant in the room and just say that Gatekeeper, if you voted for Gatekeeper, good for you. If he gets in the game, he better be great. I didn't vote for Gatekeeper. I do think his like all of his dialogue in Three Houses is funny and like fun and whatever. But I didn't vote for Gatekeeper because that's just not the kind of character that I voted for, clearly. I voted for favorites, and then I also voted for Marth because he deserves it, right? But yeah, these are some of my favorite characters in the franchise. I didn't get all of them in there, but I got 6 of probably some of my favorites, and then a vote for Marth. So, who did you guys vote for? Who were your picks for Choose Your Legends? Did you vote all 7 for the same? Did you vote characters that you love and want in the game? Did you vote for characters that you think actually have a chance of winning? How did you use your votes? Post it in the comments below. We also have a Discord community with a link in the description. You can join that, and we had a lot of discussion about Choose Your Legends 5 while that was going on and how that all happened. It's also a great place to get help with Aether Raids defense and the like. With that said, that's the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give the channel a subscribe, give the video a like, and until next time, I'll see you later.